All right, so I've actually got the problem solved, kind of. I have ordered a third brake module. This is off, I got this one off of eBay. It is just plugged up, you know, hard lines are still hooked to the module that's in the car. So I'm using this one right now just for electronics. And let me get my scan tool back here. Let's read these fault codes. I mean, we still have ABS light stuff on, but look at this. We've got accelerometer, basically like needs to be learned, and then central configuration. So it needs programmed to the car. It needs the longitudinal and latitudinal signal or sensor learned. Sorry, I'm having a hard time talking this morning. But let's go back. So we have no wheel speed sensor codes, and currently I have two different wheel speed sensors in it. I have the one for active park assist and non-active park assist. The non, by the part number, the non one is on the driver's side or left side. The active park assist is on the right side rear. But let's go in here and read some data. So we're going to pick all of our wheel speed sensors. Alright, and I'm going to start this screen recorder for you guys so you can see it better, and we're going to graph this. Alright, so this is where it's real interesting. If I put this thing in reverse and we just move this car, we can see all four wheel speed sensors are reporting. All four reporting the same. So right now, with the module unprogrammed for the car, it's programmed for some other car, it's a used module, it works the wheel speed sensors. What I'm worried is if I program it to the car, this stops working. So I'm going to see if I can't back up the data out of this thing first before I program it, just in case. And then we're going to use Ford software and we're going to program this thing for the car and see what happens with it. Because what's the odds of two modules doing the exact same thing? It's just really unheard of. And I got this module based off the part number of the original module, so it's gonna be crazy if I program this thing and then it stops working. It's gonna be real crazy, and then I hope I can somehow undo it and fix the central configuration error that it's got. Alright, so we have Ford opened up here. This is the J25 version, the FJDS. One day I'd like to make a how-to video on Ford like I did my GM stuff, but it seems like Ford's been having a lot of problems with the aftermarket here lately, so I'm trying to hold off until everything gets smoothed out. So if you never used Ford at all, I'll just close it out and start over here. So FJDS is a stripped down version of Ford IDS, but this is the J2534 version, and they strip out all the diagnostic software. Like, this is not accurate. It should say programming software, because that's just about all FJDS does, is programming and some setup stuff. I'm going to hit no. I could load that and it will make this faster. I don't really care about none of this. But once you have your subscription and you activate the license and stuff, you're going to get to this. and need to start a new session. God, I really can't talk today. And we're going to let it find the VIN. No, just let it do its thing. So it's found the VIN. It knows that we're a focus, and if it's asking, is this correct? And we're going to say yes. And here it would be asking for an RO number or anything like that if you wanted to put that in. So we're just going to hit the tick mark. So here is our VIN number and our mileage. Yeah, I never changed it to mileage, it's still in kilometers. So now we need to hit the toolbox up here. And for this module, if you go to module programming, there is no PMI for an ABS. And sorry about the dinging. That's Ford. It's annoying, but there is no PMI function for an ABS. No module reprogramming. There is just programmable parameters. This IVD initialization sequence. As built, you can't even do as built. Like, these modules are basically how you get them, it's how they are. This is the only function that you can do. So that function is also over here under chassis, braking, and initialization sequence there. So see, same thing. So that's what we're going to run. Forescan does have this function, but I'm not real sure if it works. Probably would, but we're just going to go through this and let it do its thing. And see, it's going to calibrate all these sensors. These are all the same sensors that the Topdon does. And it just does all these in order. And it quite possibly is going to fail some of these because the module's not mounted. It's just sitting there. So these lateral and longitudinal sensors may fail. Maybe not, since they're stationary. They're not moving. Maybe they'll go through. So we're just going to go through this. Like this is literally the same thing Topdon would do. So it wants us to make sure the switch is on, and it is. Okay, so now it's wanting us to turn the ignition off. We'll hit OK. Okay, so now we're going to turn the ignition back on, run this one. So again, I mean, this is all the same thing the Topdon was doing. We're just going to make sure that this thing is set up with Ford like how it's supposed to be. Okay, let's turn the ignition off. We're going to turn the ignition back on. And all this will need to be re-ran once the module's actually mounted in the car and stuff like that. I'm just wanting to make sure something, when these setups get done, doesn't change how these wheel speed sensors function. Okay, so turn the ignition off. Turn the ignition back on. And when you're doing the steering, make sure you're straight. I don't know if you guys will be able to tell that straight, but we're straight. Okay, so turn the ignition off. So that was all 4 of those. Let's hit the exit. Now, if we run the self-test, let's turn the ignition back on. We're going to want to do all. So this will give you codes and stuff if you do the self-test and do all. You can also just pick individual modules, but I like to see everything, so I always do all. And it's going to run through and do the self-test on all the modules. And ABS still has central configuration. So I probably need to look that up and see how that needs to be performed. Let's see, did we get rid of the other codes? Yep. The other code's cleared, so let me see how this central configuration gets set up. It might be under let's see, car configuration parameters. I think that's going to be it, but let me read it up on the service information and we'll see if that's right or not. So I looked up the U2351 code that we were having, central configuration not programmed. It basically says that you're supposed to run the IVD initialization. So we did that, and no, it still had that code. So what I'm doing now, I'm running that other thing where it's actually pulling information from the server and basically restoring the modules how they should have been. So I'm going to let this run through and see how it plays out. Oh, well, we may be actually finished. None of these are ABS modules though. So press tick mark. So I did this retrieve the vehicle configuration. I'm not real sure. I've never had to run this function before, so it's kind of strange. Kind of want to run this, but let's just go back. Let's do the DTCs again. We'll click the erase button. Just let it run through this all again. Turn my key back on because it automatically turned it off for some reason. Well, that apparently worked. We got ABS passed now. Let's see. We still got this APIM code, lost comma, digital audio control D. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but it's definitely not related. Our ABS code did clear. So whatever that did, it did fix that. So now let me connect the Topdon back up. See if we still have wheel speed sensors reading. Cross your fingers. Let's hope so, because I'm tired of working on this car. I've spent way too much time with it, of course. It's kind of how these problem child vehicles go, though. Sometimes you spend way too much time on them. So, yeah. Let me get the Topdon hooked back up, and we'll see if we got wheel speed sensors. Well, we still have an ABS light, and this code has came back after a key cycle. So, not really sure what to do about this code right now. But let's not exit. Let's go. Let's make sure our wheel speed sensors are still working, and then I'll address that maybe somehow. I don't know how just yet, but And it may be that the way the module is sitting in there, it can actually learn the sensors correctly, the latitudinal and longitudinal. Oh my god, I can't talk. Y'all know what I mean. The lat and long. Okay, so we still got wheel speed sensors working, so that is good news. Good news. So this there was one thing I found in service information where part of the initialization was you had to drive it over the 20 kilometers or 12 miles an hour. So I'm kind of thinking maybe it's got to do that to finish all of its self checks before that code will clear. Maybe it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But either way, I don't want to actually drive this thing down the road with the module just laying there like it is. I want to actually get it mounted to the car correctly, because the way those sensors work, you know, that thing could bounce and move, fall or something, cause some weird issues, and possibly maybe even make the car think it was in a wreck or something, possibly. So I don't want to drive it and have something like that happen. So I think I'm going to get that thing mounted in here and do the test drive, see if this code goes away. We at least have wheel speed sensors working now, so that's an improvement. All right, so we have the original module here out of the car. We have the replacement module that somebody else had put in. All right, and then I've just basically took the module I bought off of the hydraulic side and took off the electrical part that was in the car. Basically put my electrical part on the hydraulic that was already in here, so I didn't have to take the lines loose. None of that. And of course I've still got everything taken apart. So we're going to take this thing for a drive and see if the code, that configuration code, clears. I've got the scan tool hooked back up in. That is still the only code that is set. So we're going to take it for a ride, see what happens. You can see we still got the dash lights on, of course. Let's pull up the wheel speed data. I want to make sure my wheel speed sensors continue to work. We're going to put these on a graph. Graph makes it a lot easier to look at. So yes, all four are moving right now. So let's take this, get it up to speed to see if it does the second self-check test that service information was referring to. I've honestly been on this thing off and on for so long now, I can't remember if I've shared a screenshot of that information yet or not. If I've not, you'll be seeing it right now. So let's get out here on the highway and get up to 20 kilometers or 12 mile per hour, which we are already at. My light is still on. So all we can do is now check and see if that code has went to history or not. I kind of feel like if it was waiting to do this self-test, it would have cleared by itself, like the light would have turned off. But let's get turned around here in this parking lot and we'll see what the code says. if it's still there or not. All right. Go to park. Read fault code. Let's hope it says history and we can clear this. I doubt it will though. This car has faulted me all this time. Why would it change its mind? Fault is currently present. Let's do clear. Yep, lights come right back on. They like went off, come right back on. So this code's gonna be here still. Yeah. Let me fire up the forescan. I believe I seen a central configuration listed in that. So let me see if that is actually there or not, and we'll try to get this code to go away. Alright, so we got forescan pulled up here. If you don't know what this is, it's an aftermarket software for Ford vehicles only. I guess Mazda's might work, I'm not real sure, but it comes in handy every now and then. There's not a whole lot that I've seen it be able to do that something else like a scan tool wouldn't be able to do, but every now and then you find one little thing in here that makes it worth having. So just connect it to the vehicle. It will work with any J2534 device. There's also a few little Bluetooth dongles that it'll work with and stuff like that. But I always just use it with my J-Box. So gotta let it finish do this little scan here. It's gonna want us to save this. I don't really ever save the profile, every now and then, but so like you've got DTCs. This is kind of like live data kind of stuff. This would be just basically self-test stuff, service functions, and then the configuration and programming stuff. Now this thing doesn't actually do full programming like what the Ford software will do. This will do as-built data. It will pull the as-built data from the server, the Ford server and everything. That way you can write as-built and stuff. It will do some PMI stuff. Pretty much if a scan tool can do it though, this is going to do it. Also, there's not always going to be PMIs for everything, but see here we have module initialization / relearn from central configuration. That is the thing I've not seen in the Ford software. It may be in the full IDS version, or maybe I just don't know where to look at in the FJDS version. But let's run that and see what happens. Please turn the ignition off. Okay, turn the ignition on, don't start the engine. Okay, so now I'm guessing it's just pulling configuration data from probably the BCM, I'm guessing. Turn the ignition off. Okay, turn the ignition on. Okay, and service completed successfully. So let's go back over here to the DTCs. Let's clear. Let's see, reset DTC. Cycle ignition off. Back on. Okay. Oh my God. Oh my God, look at this. Oh my God. Oh my God. our speed sensors are no longer going to work. So the central configuration is wrong. Oh boy. That's messed up. Central configuration is wrong. Great.